thank you all again for joining us. This is our leave of absence work-life balance webinar that we are hosting. I'm going to let our wonderful student that we have with us today introduce himself shortly before I introduce myself all to you and talk to you a little bit more about leave of absence. So go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone in Batadem.
Hey, thank you so much, Sarah, for the opportunity. It's always a pleasure to be on here. My name is Mbachadem Basti. I live in Houston, Texas. I'm a business administration student with the University of the People. Hopefully by the end of this term, I should be getting my associate and then moving on to getting my bachelor's. University of People has made my dreams come true. So I'm always grateful for the school and for everyone in the school. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm super excited for Ambassador to be here. He said some great things about the university, and he is the perfect person for us today to talk more about leave of absence and really how to manage your work-life balance. How this webinar works, it's set up for one-way audio only, meaning that we will not be able to hear you, but you will be able to hear us. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to use the chat feature. You will be able to use the chat feature throughout this entire webinar. So feel free to talk to one another, communicate if you have any questions or any comments. And if you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A section and you can ask any questions that you might have. We have admissions advisors on the call with us that will be able to answer all of your questions today. So quick update for the webinar agenda. We're going to have a welcoming, which we've already done. We're going to talk a little bit more about goal setting and managing school life balance. We're going to talk a bit about how to re-register if you have not already, some UoPeople updates, and we'll have a brief discussion at the end for a little bit more Q&A before we close out for the day. So number one, goal setting. I know many of us might have super big goals or big dreams for earning our degree from UoPeople, but we want us to be realistic in the goals that we set. So goal setting, there are long-term goals and there are short-term goals that our students have here at UoPeople. And in Batadem, I know for a fact that you know a ton more about SMART goals and goals in general. Do you want to talk a little bit more about how you've been able to set SMART goals and long-term goals since being at UoPeople?
Well, I think, Sarah, thank you so much. With goal setting, the big thing for me, what I've realized is to be as specific as possible. For example, I'm taking 2 classes this term, and every Wednesday I have to make sure that I'm turning in my assignment. So I have a week to determine what I need to do. So just setting goals short term as, okay, I need to get this assignment done. And then the big picture, the long term goal is like, okay, I need to get my degree by this year. So this is what I need to do every day. So if you look at this, if everyone can see our screen, you have to be specific. Your goals have to be measurable. When you talk about measurable, how much by when? Okay, I want to read for 2 hours tomorrow. How much by when? It has to be measurable. Then it has to be attainable. Some people set goals. Well, someday I want to graduate. Someday it's not a goal. It's not clear what that means. So you want to make sure it's attainable. Then you want to make sure it's relevant. But the big thing about goal setting is it has to be time-based. So I want to get my associate's degree in the next 2 years. I want to get my bachelor's in the next 4 years. So if you're listening to us, I want you to make sure life starts with goal setting. You have to have a clear goal. What's your goal for the next? Why did you start the University of the People? I think a lot of people, I'll say this now, hand it back to Sarah. For me, when I started University of the People, okay, I wanted to go get my degree. And what happened? Life happened along the way. I got distracted. So one of the things I had to do was I had to get clear because I took a leave of absence and I was gone for a while. Then I had to sit down and say, why did I sign up for the University of the People in the first place? And so I had to go back to my goal, get clear about my goal, and then commit to staying on track, because there are going to be many things that will kick you off your path. But it's when you clear goal that you're going to stay committed, you're going to stay consistent doing the work that you need to do to get that degree.
Yes, thank you so much for those, words of wisdom in Batadem. It's very important that you understand exactly why you're achieving the degree, even though you may be earning the degree to, help your family or help out with your own life or your own career. It's really important to have a reason that's going to keep you going in the long term, because earning your degree is not going to be easy. We are an online university, but we are not an easy university. We make sure that our curriculum is high quality and that the things you're learning, you're able to use in real life and in your career. So it's really important that you are specific, measurable, and very time-based in the goals that you set while you're a student at UoPeople, because that's the best way for you to achieve your degree at the very end of your term. Moving on to the next thing, self-motivation and discipline. I'm sure that we have all procrastinated in the past. I have a terrible habit of procrastinating, but I've been getting really good at it in the last few months with being online and working in my role, making sure that I keep time and keep myself motivated to do all of the things that I do. In Batadam, I know that you work, you study. How do you keep yourself motivated and disciplined to complete all of your assignments week to week?
Well, I think, again, you touched on it earlier. I think the big thing for me in keeping myself motivated is to always go back to my why. Why am I going for this degree? Because once you have a big why, someone says if you have a big why, you can accomplish anyhow. So once you keep going back to your why. But talking about discipline, I love to procrastinate too. So
we are in the same boat.
Most of my assignments that I do on Wednesday, on Tuesday night, I start praying to God. I start doing all kinds of stuff. Some weeks are awesome, but some weeks, like last week, I messed up. I did not get my stuff done on time. So I think the big thing is, some days, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you're not going to get to the goal like you want to. Some weeks will be really stressful, but I've learned to just stay consistent. Just stay consistent. When I have bad weeks, I dust myself up and make sure that the next week is better. So I like what they say, self-motivation and discipline. Just the key is to be disciplined. You're going to make mistakes, forgive yourself and keep moving on. Keep staying motivated. Another thing I do to stay motivated is I listen to things. I come to webinars like this. I go to YouTube and find inspirational speakers and just have them feed me because I need that motivation. So whatever you need to do to keep yourself motivated, do it. You may have to listen to someone. You may have to come to webinars like this. You may have to talk to your advisors. It's important. Talk to your advisors if you're feeling down, the class of challenges. Sometimes talk to your classmates. Your classmates are some of your greatest resource as well as your professors. So many avenues to take. Find what works for you and stick to it.
Yes, and that's great advice. You are going to have a bad week. You'll definitely have a bad day, but staying disciplined and sticking to your long-term goals and short-term goals are the only way that you can stay motivated. And like it says on the screen, this takes practice. I've been practicing this for years, and I still have days or weeks where I struggle with being motivated or actually completing everything that I say I will. So don't be hard on yourself. Stay consistent, stay positive, and make sure you are your own motivator. So do not discourage yourself when things go wrong. Just know that it's life, it happens, and you have to move forward and stay disciplined so that you can continue on to earning your degree. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about managing school-life balance. Many of us at UoPeople, we are full-time parents and full-time students, or we might be working a full-time job and be a part-time student. It's really important to manage your school and life because you don't want to fall down in any of the areas in either one of those. So time management, I did see some questions on how you can manage your time, how you can stay motivated. All of these tips on screen are great tips for staying motivated overall. Obviously, things happen, so you might not be able to stick to a schedule every single week, but knowing the important things that you have to get done and when they are due kind of brings us back to those SMART goals, making those short-term goals that you know you can reach versus making a long-term goal or an unrealistic goal that you know you don't have the time or resources to achieve. Mbassadam, since you've been a student at UoPeople, how have you been able to manage your coursework and your real life work? How has it been good? Has it been bad? And have you had to change anything in how you manage your time since you started at UoPeople?
Well, I think a big thing for me doing that is working and balancing life and school is challenging. 2 weeks ago, one of the days I think it was on the Wednesday, I was going to go to work. And when I got to work, I was going to get some of my work done. And that was most of the assignment was due. And guess what? I had a busy day at work. Now I'm packing. That was 2 weeks ago. So last week, what I did instead was I did not wait till the last minute. I had to discipline myself to start. So the week has started today. Just a little bit at a time. I've learned just to take it little by little, because some days, like I'm taking statistics, it's really challenging to understand a lot of this stuff. So I need more time. In fact, instructor told us you need more time as we progress in the course. So I'm giving myself that ample time to learn, because sometimes I may have to read the chapter twice. I can't wait till the last minute. So I've learned just to balance the time, how just to read ahead of time, give myself enough time in case I have challenges. Like one of the classes I'm taking, multinational corporation, I couldn't access some of the reading, but thank God I started early, because now I could reach out to the librarian and say, hey, I'm trying to access these resources. Could you help me? And then she was able to get back to me on time. So starting way at the beginning of the week, don't wait to the last minute, because by the time you wait to the last minute, for me, I get all nervous and I shut down, actually. I shut down. And
yeah,
you know what to do that.
Honestly, it's the same for me. Once I get overwhelmed, I shut down. I don't want to do anything, and I just kind of give up easier. Versus if I had a schedule, I took it in smaller increments and made sure that I wasn't overwhelmed the day before. It's really important for us to know that, you're managing your time as effectively as you can, because it's all about how much work and how much time you put into it, and making sure that you can actually complete all your assignments throughout the week. You're going to have to create a schedule, and you're going to have to make sure that you know when things are due. Comfortable study space. This is really important. A lot of people might not think so. You don't even have to have a desk. Honestly, you can go to Starbucks or you can go to somewhere else. But as long as you are comfortable, that is something that's really important. As you can see, this is Prince X's study space. He's a student that's based in India. He has a whole bunch of notes on his wall. He has writing utensils. He has an outlet to keep his laptop charged. He has, a space that he is comfortable in and a space that he knows he can get work done in. And Batadem, where do you usually study? Is there anything that you have to have in any of your study spaces, or is it a specific place?
Well, I like my study space to be, I like how Prince S studies place is. I like my stuff to be clear of clutter. I don't want clutter, because clutter just disturbs me. So I like it to be clear, and I like a quiet environment. So sometimes I'll wake up at night to read, because everywhere is quiet and my mind is refreshed. So yeah, it's important to have the right study place, because without the right study place, then you're not going to be motivated to read. If you're not motivated to read, you don't get the work done, then you fall behind, and now it's a bad story.
Exactly. So we don't want that. We don't want you all to fall behind. We don't want anyone to feel like they can't get it done, because it's more than possible. We have over 117,000, excuse me. We have over 117,000 students now across the world who are studying, who are earning their degree. So it's possible. People are doing it. You just have to make sure that you take the time and dedication to set yourself up for success in the future. Last but not least, working strategically. Both me and Batadem have said that we've had issues with procrastination in the past. It happens to everyone. Do not feel bad if for some reason a week doesn't go as you plan. Maybe you failed an assignment. Maybe the things that you were doing, you thought that you were studying right. You thought that you were working correctly. Things happen. Do not feel bad and do not get down on yourself if you are working strategically and it doesn't play out the way that you want it to. But just make sure that you're working ahead and buying that extra time for yourself. What tips or, strategies would you like to give students who might be interested, and like maybe students haven't practiced working strategically? What tips can you give anyone in the chat who is interested in, working more strategically while they're at UoPeople?
Well, I think for me, I'll call it the 3 A's to working strategically. Is the first A is going to be attitude. I want you to change your attitude about the class you're taking. Because sometimes if you go into a class with the attitude that this class is going to be challenging, I'm going to fail, already you've already set yourself to fail. So if you go into the class like, okay, well, I know it's going to be challenging, but I can do it. Your attitude will determine how you show up. Your attitude will determine if you're procrastinating or if you're doing the work required. How is the glass full? Is the glass half empty or is it half full? If you see it as half empty, you show up with a defeated mindset. If it's half full, you're saying, yeah, man, I can do it. The second A to working strategically is action. Listen. Every day, take action towards the goal. The goal is to get your work done by the end of the week. Don't wait till the last minute, like I do sometimes, and then beat yourself up. Take action every day. The last thing is accountability. You gotta hold yourself accountable. Like, listen, we will do more when someone's holding us accountable than if we have no accountability. So I want to encourage you. If you're listening to me, you're saying, well, I don't know, I've taken time off because this is not for me. Hold yourself accountable. Talk to your advisors, talk to your professors, talk to the staff of the university people, talk to fellow students, and you can get it done.
And that is a perfect segue into our next section, which is participation and review. You have to talk to your peers. That is part of our UoPeople learning model, meaning that all of our things that students do, their modules, they're all peer reviewed. Your professor will still be reviewing your work, but your peers are also helping you in your learning journey. It's very important that you understand that at UoPeople, we are a community of students. We have communities of refugees, communities of women in science, men in health, anything that you think of, we have a community for it. So it's very important that you understand that you need to ask questions. I saw a few people were asking in the Q&A section, like, how do you stay motivated? What do you do if you lose motivation? You need to stay connected to your peers, and you have to learn what study methods work best for you. Not everyone is able to sit down for 4 hours and study and then go and take an exam and pass. Some people are better at Quizlets, or they'll use online resources to learn. Other people like to highlight. Other people like to reread a few times to make sure they understand things. Some people like to even use flashcards. There are 1,001 different ways that you can choose to study for your assignments, but it's really important that you understand that not only are you studying alone, but you can also study with the peers that are in these classes with you. And in Batadem, what have you done in the past to, do some peer studying, or how has your peers been able to either motivate you to get studying again or help you figure out a better study method?
Well, in one of my classes, we created one of my classmates created a WhatsApp group, and she invited a bunch of us, and we got into the group. And when we doing our assignments and we had challenges, hey, does anyone understand this question? And then people responded. So that's one way you could do it. You could create a study group, WhatsApp. Another way that we did was I just mentioned that moments ago when I had a challenge with getting one of the read documents, the text I had to read for school. I had to reach out to the librarian. I reached out to the librarian. Hey, I have a problem accessing this stuff. Can you help me? So there's so many ways that you could, so many avenues, so many things to use. So figure out what works for you. For example, if you're having challenges, for example, well, I don't understand what I'm reading, you can reach out to your professor. Most of my classes, I reached out to the professor. Hey, I don't understand this stuff. It doesn't make sense. And then they sat down. Okay, hey, Bassett, why don't you do this, do this, do this? So find out where you need help in, locate the right resource for you, and then follow what they tell you to do.
Exactly. And, it's not easy. I know a lot of people want it to be easy because it's online, and we may believe that online learning is easier than in-person learning, but it is just as difficult. Sometimes it's more difficult because you might run into technical issues, or you might not understand the best way to study fully online. But it's a learning curve, just like you would have a learning curve at any other university. Even if you go to a traditional university, you still run into issues with technology. You might run into issues with your study method, but you're also paying about $50,000 a year or more just for your degree. So you don't have to worry about that at UoPeople. We have tons of resources to help our students study. We have tons of free online resources for books, so you're not paying for textbooks. And even if you need to learn how to study You can look up in our free online library for our students and find a book on better ways to study. There are plenty of different things that you can do to become a better student and a better studier. It just takes time. So like we said earlier, staying disciplined and staying motivated is the best way for you to figure out what study methods work best for you. So keep trying things, keep seeing what works best for you, because it will take time and it will take consistency. Last but not least, ask for help. I personally have a terrible problem with this. It's not something that I'm used to. It's not something that I, want to do very often, but you have to ask for help if you want to be successful at UoPeople. 98% of our enrolled students work and they attend UoPeople. So you'll have to be able to lean on that support if you want to be able to succeed at UoPeople. And Batadam, can you tell us about a time that maybe you asked for help or didn't ask for help and the outcome turned out differently than you were planning?
Well, again, I was born in the United States, but I grew up in Nigeria. And one of the things I learned from growing in Nigeria, you don't ask for help.
Yes.
You try to figure
Yes. I was born in Nigeria, but raised in the States with a Nigerian mother. And I still know I don't ask for help.
Yes, I'm that way. I don't ask for help.
It must be a cultural thing. It has to be a cultural thing.
Every time I've tried to figure it out by myself, you know what? I make a big mess. Before you know it, it's time has run out and I'm frustrated. So I'm recovering from not asking for help. I try to as much as possible. I'm learning how to ask for help. Just to say, hey, listen, personally, okay, I have a life coach, a business coach also. I was talking to my business coach the other day. I said, hey, I just don't know what to do. I need help. So at the University of the People, one of the things I do is I reach out to my peers because sometimes when you're doing the reviews of people and you're answering the questions, you see some of your classmates that know what they're doing. I reach out to them personally. Hey, listen, I have a challenge here. Can you help me? So I'm learning, and each time I've done that, it turns out well for me. And when I don't do it, guess what happens? All week I'm frustrated, just thinking of dropping the class and all that stuff. So again, I'm learning how to ask for help.
Yes. And it's super important. I know culturally, we may all come from cultures where this is not normalized and where we feel bad when we do ask for help, but you have to ask for help if you want to succeed anywhere. It's something that most of us might have to unlearn. I know me personally, I'm still unlearning it. And it's not something that's easy because many of us might feel uncomfortable asking for it or letting people know that we're struggling. But it's very important to know that you're not going to be judged when you ask for help. You're not going to be looked at, badly. This is the best time at UoPeople. We have so many resources strictly just for help. Your program advisor is your A1 day one, and that program advisor will help you with anything and everything that you can think of. If you have questions about scholarships, if you have questions about taking a leave of absence for a term and coming back the next term, if you have questions about transferring to a master's program after you finish your associate's or bachelor's, whatever questions you have, your program advisor is the one-stop shop. They might have to reach out to other people to give you a definitive answer, but they are always going to be there to help you. Outside of your program advisors, we have a career services center. So if you are interested in looking for a job while you are in school or after you graduate with your degree from UoPeople, you have plenty of options to do so because we have a whole department dedicated just to helping you with your career. If you run into issues during classes, your peers are there to help you. They might not always give you the best grade on an assignment because you know that you rushed it and you might not have done as good as you could have done, and they might have graded you a little lower on the rubric. But even then, that is a way to help you, to motivate you to do better next time and to become a stronger student. It's not easy to ask for help, but if you want to succeed at UoPeople, you have to ask for help to do so. So quick recall. I know we've been talking about plenty of things and we've been mentioning a whole bunch of tips that you can use to basically become a stronger student or get better at time management or get better at staying motivated. which one of these tips do you all want to use moving forward? Just mention one tip that we've recommended that you'll try using moving forward. That can be time management. That can be trying different study methods. That can be asking for help. Go ahead and let us know which one of these tips that you are most interested in trying out next. Looking at the chat now, just a heads up, I do see some people with their hands up. I do want to let you guys know again, we are not able to have you come off of mute. The way this webinar works, it is one way only. So we cannot have you come off of mute. We can only be off of mute. So if you do have any questions, but you have your hand raised, please make sure to ask them in the Q&A section so that I can make sure that our advisors can answer them, because we will not be able to physically hear you and answer them for you. Looking here. Okay, I'm loving this. I see people asking for help. I see people doing that tip that we just talked about, creating a WhatsApp group. My name is Sarah O. Sorry, I'm taking over from my manager's account. So that's why you see Kate on the screen. But I'm Sarah. I am the digital content producer here at UoPeople. But please make sure if you guys want to communicate in the chat and create WhatsApp groups together, I am more than happy to see that happening. Please make sure that you guys are, sending each other numbers, talking to one another, asking each other for help, because that's the best way for you to achieve your goals at UoPeople. I see most of us are talking about wanting to start business administration. That's awesome. Mbassadam, he is in the business administration school. Do you want to talk a little bit about that while people are still talking in the chat? How have you been enjoying your time at the business administration program at UoPeople?
I love it. And when I say I love it, because again, I have a side business. I've written 2 books and I coach people on the side and all that. And most of the stuff I'm learning in classes is what I can apply to my real life business.
Right.
From how to, I did a marketing just 2 terms ago. That was A1. It was.
I have my degree in marketing, so I'm loving to hear that. I'm glad that we got an A1 for y'all, for real.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, so everything we're doing, customer acquisition. Okay, I did accounting, learning how to balance your accounting books, how to write an income statement, how to create all that stuff. I'm like, wow, this is stuff you can use in real life. Yes. A lady reached out to me, one of our students in Greece, I think in Greece. She said, "Oh, what can I do with my business administration? Can I do anything?" I said, "Of course, there's so much you can do with it. Yeah. So many avenues you can work with a business administration degree." So I love it. I'm glad that I'm in business administration. I won't trade it for anything else, because what I'm learning is it's not just for book knowledge. It's actually something I can use every day in life and in business.
Yes, and that's awesome. We want to make sure that the skills you're learning, even in our webinars, you can use these tips in your real life to help improve not only your studying, but just improve your motivation overall, improve your goal setting overall. It's not just school. I know that it is a university and that it's online and you do have assignments like at school, but it is an extension of your life. It's an extension of the things that you want to do with your life. So it's really important to know that while you're attending UoPeople, things might get hard. You might not always get 100% in all of your assignments, but all of those things are lessons to learn from. And all of those things will help you become better people and better workers in the future.
Let me piggyback what you said, because I think sometimes, especially when you're in the online space with the peer review, sometimes it's easy to get so frustrated with how your peers review you. One of the things I've learned to do is not to take it personal. I try to learn from it, and I want to encourage anyone, don't take it personal. Some people may review you really bad. Some people may review you great. It's usually the average of the 3. So like someone said, don't sweat the small stuff. It's only small stuff.
Yes, exactly. It's not going to end your life.
Focus on the biggest stuff. Like most of the exams actually have a higher percentage points to your final grade. So if you do well on your exams, it doesn't matter how bad they review you on your discussion post or your written assignment, you still have a chance of getting an A or a B plus in your class. So don't sweat the small stuff. Yeah. Just keep moving forward.
Exactly. And even then too, they're there to help. It might not feel like help if they're not giving you like the easy grade, but it's not helping you if they're lying about the score, that you deserve for the work that you put together. And like Mbatadem said, do not feel scared about the peer-to-peer review process, because at the end of the day, your final exam is done only by you and graded only by your professor. So you will not have to worry about, potentially failing because maybe you got some lower grades for your weekly modules. You'll be able to still, pull it together towards the end of the term with your final exam. So I saw some questions earlier as well about how to register. So I am going to kind of go over this section very briefly. If you are on a leave of absence, I know many of us on this webinar might be, you do have to send an email to student services. Those of you who are interested, you can ask our advisors in the chat if you have specific questions about your leave of absence. But if you already have a program advisor assigned, you can make sure to reach out to your program advisor and let them know that you want to come back from your leave of absence. But you can log into the portal and enter your courses to start the re-registration process. The registration process is not difficult in any way, but it has been updated a bit. So this is what the registration screen looks like. The registration deadline for this term is March 17th. I'm going to put that in the chat because I know somebody will ask, but the registration deadline or the application, or I guess registration, same thing. The registration deadline is March 17th. So if any of you are interested in rejoining or coming back to UoPeople, please know that you have until March 17th to sign up for the next term. That gives you about 3 weeks to do so. Do not feel discouraged at all if you are, scared, or you might not have the financial capabilities to pay for your course fees at the end of the term. Your program advisor is there, your first point of contact. So if you are having financial issues that are making you feel uncomfortable with returning, please, please, please reach out to your program advisor. At UoPeople, our mission is high education, a high quality education for all qualified students. So obviously you've already gotten in, you're already a qualified student, and we want to make sure that you leave with your degree. And we don't want money to be the reason why you cannot achieve your degree from UoPeople. So please make sure you're asking for help. Me and Mbatadem both said earlier, we struggle with that, especially Nigerian culture. It's very hard to feel okay asking for help. But your program advisor is not going to, be upset at you, and your program advisor is not going to curse you or say anything negative about you needing help, whether that's help financially or help with anything else that you might need throughout your studies. Once you see this very first screen of where it says registration for next course, you're going to go to the My Courses section. Under the My Courses section, that is where you will be able to register for your courses. On this screen, this is showing foundation students. So this is might not apply to every single one of you who are here, but just know this is an example. This is not what it will look like exactly for you, but you will see My Courses, and then you will see the course that you need to register for next. Most of us will only take one course a term. Some people might take 2 courses in a term. If you want to take more than one course, all you have to do is load more courses, and then you can select 2 instead of 1. You need to make sure that when you are registering for your courses, that you can go to the instructions section at the bottom. If you get any type of confusion, if you run into any issues, look at the instructions first. If for some reason the instructions are confusing and you don't understand what they're saying, we even have a live chat bot in the section, in the lower right corner. So just look on your screen and click on the hi, how can I help you? And you will still be walked through the registration process. So do not be scared. If you're confused by anything, you can actually be walked through the process step by step with somebody live through a chat feature. After you've selected your 2 courses, then you are going to confirm your confirmation. Nothing has changed in the, from you selecting your courses to you registering for the course. It just wants you to make sure that you know exactly how many credits each course is worth, what type of course it is, and you can also look at more information about the course itself if you are interested in potentially switching to something else or just confirming your registration. Then last but definitely not least, you will finally see that you are registered for another term. This is when you have to wait. So your final registration status will be emailed to you by student services by the end of the registration period. If you do not get an email within a day or 2 days, do not try to re-register again. Please do not register for multiple classes in multiple times. You will be sent an email. If for some reason 2 weeks goes by and you don't get an email, feel free to send an email to student services, but do not try to register again for different courses, because instead of 2 courses, then you'll have 4, and instead of 4 courses, then you'll have 6. And then your program advisor has to do a whole bunch of work to basically cancel all of that out of your system. So please do not give your program advisor any more work than they already have. I know that they love working and helping you all, but we want to make their lives easier, just like they make our lives easier. So just be patient. And just wait till you get that email to tell you that your final request has been accepted and that your next term will begin. If you wish to view your course schedule, you can do that before you get an email about registration being confirmed. All you have to do is click the click here button. If for some reason you run into any issues with that, once again, you have instructions at the bottom of the screen, and you also have a chat box in the corner that can give you more information. Do not feel that this process is hard. Do not feel like you are going to, implode if you accidentally click the wrong thing. We can still help you throughout all of this. And in Batadam, you've been here for many terms, so I know you can give a firsthand account of the registration process. Have you enjoyed the registration process? Have you run into a lot of issues while doing it, or is it very easy and straightforward?
Well, it's easy and straightforward, and I love that they actually give you a suggestion of the classes to take. Right. So the process is easy, like Sarah just said. Just follow the prompts, and you shouldn't run into problems. If you run into any problems, reach out to your program advisor. The key thing is, after you've registered, you will have to wait till the term is almost about to begin before you get the notification that you're registered. But once you can see that it's pending, so don't try to re-register again, like Sarah said. But I've not had any challenges. I love the website. It's straightforward.
Right. And thank you so much for that as well. It will happen at the very end of that term. So if you apply at the beginning of the term, that's fine, but it will end at the very end of that term. That's when you'll receive that email. And I did just get a message from one of the advisors with the exact date and time for the admissions deadline. So I just put that in the chat for anyone who might need it. I'm going to also make a sticky note and add another note for you all. But it's really important that you guys understand that it is not, it's not something that we want to be difficult. It's not something that we, want anyone to struggle with. We understand that everyone has different lives and everyone has different procedures and processes for what they do when they're studying. But registration is very straightforward. We know exactly which courses you'll need. Please just be patient when you're waiting for your registration confirmation, because you will get it at the end of the term. And the end of this term is going to end around March 16th at 11:55 p.m. GMT 5 time. So please make sure that you are doing your best to get registered. I'm so happy to see so many of us inside of the chat talking to one another and communicating with one another. The deadline, I said March 17th on the screen. It is technically like that night of the 16th. So, you can still apply on the 16th, but on March 17th, that will be the beginning of another term. So please do not wait until March 17th to register for your courses, because then you will have to wait another 9 weeks to get a registration confirmation email. And you will have to wait to start 9 weeks from the day that you register, if you register on March 17th. But if you register on March 15th or March 16th, you will have the opportunity to start the term with the rest of the students. But the earlier, the better. We want you to save your spot. We want you to feel, excited about coming to UoPeople. And I know we've talked about a ton of great tips and a ton of great advice, but in Batadam, what is some advice or just words of wisdom that you want to share with any new or current students who might be, hesitant about coming back from a leave of absence?
Well, I think I'll just call it the 3 C's. The first one is clarity. Again, There was a reason you signed up to come to University of the People. You want to get a degree. Why? Because you want to better your life. You want to better the situation of your family. So get clear about that goal. And then the next thing is you got to be consistent. It's not going to be easy. I saw someone ask the question, well, I'm a mom, I work full time, and I have to finish assignments within a week. I don't have time. None of us has time. Everyone is busy doing something, but you have to make time to what's important to you. So I want you to be consistent. And being consistent means you may be studying for 30 minutes every single day. That's all it may take. Some of you may have an hour to study every day, but some of you may just 30 minutes, it's 20 minutes, but the key is to be consistent. And then the last C is, listen, I want you to be committed. Be committed to this stuff. You said you wanted to get your degree, then be committed to it. Yes, life is going to happen. I like what one of my mentors says, Les Brown. He says, when life knocks you on the ground, make sure you land on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. So it doesn't matter what happened. Forgive your past, forgive the mistakes you've made. Register this term. Let's start this year right, and let's finish this degree on time. I know you can do it. You got greatness in you. You got ability in you. Let's go.
Yes. And that's honestly a great, way to end out this entire webinar. I know we had some other great questions in the chat, and I'm going to give us about, 1 or 2 more minutes so that the program advisors can kind of wrap those up. But it's super important that you put yourself first, even though many of us might be parents, many of us might be working. Your degree is not only so that you have a degree and you get a better paying job, but it's also at UoPeople a way for you to expand your mind, to learn about different cultures, to communicate with people all over the world. We have plenty of students who have made great friends, who have dated each other, from meeting at UoPeople. And just like you would at any traditional university, you're going to run into issues. You're going to run into days where you're not feeling motivated, where you feel like, oh, I failed this assignment. Why do I even want to do this anymore? Those things are normal. Don't feel bad if those feelings come up. But it's also normal to care about yourself and care about your progression in life. And you need to be able to do so before you try to achieve your degree from UoPeople. It's something that you'll have to work on, that you'll have to build the skills. Just like Ambassador mentioned, those 3 C's will elevate you to the level that you need to be at if you want to succeed at UoPeople. It's not going to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. That's how we make sure that our curriculum is high quality for anyone who might be joining us. But it's really important to understand that you are your own motivator. You have to be disciplined and you have to be consistent if you want to succeed here, and you have to ask for help. And I'm loving the fact that so many people are talking in the chat and sending each other WhatsApp numbers and creating WhatsApp groups for health science, business administration, computer science. All of this is wonderful. Please make sure that you guys are connecting with one another and, reaching out to each other, because that is the best way for you to succeed, asking for help here at UoPeople. So I don't have anything else I want to add. I do want to say thank you so much to Ambassador for co-hosting with me today. And thank you so much to the advisors who have been answering your questions in the chat. We would not have been able to run this amazing webinar without you all. Ambassador, do you want to say anything else before we close out this session for today?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much again for the opportunity. I don't take it lightly. I'm grateful. I want to thank University of the People for actually being there, having this, giving us the opportunity. It's me personally, the opportunity to get the degree, which I was struggling to get for a long time because I didn't have the finances. And I want to thank everyone for taking the time just to join us and just to listen. Please, please, please don't give up. You signed up for a reason. Let's get this degree this year.
Yes. Yes, let's make this year our year to be degreed and educated. I love that. So thank you all again for joining us. I'm Sarah O, finishing off with Mbatadam. So happy to have you all today. And this webinar will be recorded and you will be able to rewatch it. The link will be sent sometime this week, if not early next week. So you will be able to rewatch it and keep up with all the tips that me and Mbatadam shared. But thank you all again. Have a great day or night, no matter where you might be in the world, and hope to see you all at UoPeople. Bye, everyone.